What's up YouTube? It's Jordan here with J Dubs Aquatics. Finally bringing you another video on my 75-gallon MARINELAND reef tank build. Now the system is 115 gallons total. I have my 75-gallon display, of course, a 20-gallon frag tank, and a 30-gallon shared sump, which actually holds about 20 gallons. So the system is about 115 gallons of water. I've got about 95 pounds of live rock in here. Some of it was my old live rock from my previous display, and some of it was new live rock, which was cycled for about 3 months in advance. So I set this tank up, put my live sand in, filled it up with water, got the temperature and salinity right, started introducing some of my new rock, which was already cured. Didn't have any ammonia spike. Slowly started introducing fish, and over the last 3 weeks I got my entire livestock transferred, and all the fish are doing great. They're out, everybody's eating, everybody's happy. I have a couple of corals that are still pouting. My Montes were actually bleaching pretty bad, but I've done a few things to fix that, and they're now starting to perk up. So not to worry there. Everything else seems to be doing very well. Parameters are all in check. Nutrients are a bit low, so I've been feeding the system a bit heavier. But other than that, everything's doing very well. So without any more jibber jabber about the transfer, I want to get started on talking about the equipment running my system. So I have, for flow in the display, a J-Bow RW8. And that's blowing towards my overflow, as that's the biggest pump. And then I have an RW4 in the back and an RW4 on the other side. And all these are synced together. They're working in wave 1 mode. Usually that's what I run them in. Occasionally I'll flip it to else mode and let them kind of blast things around for a bit and get everything cleaned off. For lighting in the display, I have 2 Chinese 165 watt LEDs. I chose not to use their hanging kit as I think they're tacky, and frankly I just don't trust them. I didn't like the idea of wires dangling a light fixture over my display tank. So what I came up with was these little wood mounts. They're mounted into the back of my stand, and I'm very happy with the way they came out. You don't even see any of the wires hardly. So that's my lighting. I think that's about it for the equipment in the display itself. Take you down here and give you a look at my sump refugium. So we have the 1-inch drain, 1-inch return, and it is draining into a filter sock, which needs to be changed. In my first chamber here, it's about 12 by 12 section, and there's about 10.5 inches of water. Skimmer sitting on 2 little 4-inch stands, so my skimmer's actually in about 7 inches of water, a little more. I have a MaxiJet 1200 circulating the water in that first chamber, which is very, very important to keep detritus from settling and get more of the waste into the skimmer and into the refugium, etc. So flows over the first baffle into my refugium, where I have some more live rock and some chaetomorpha algae, and it's doing very well so far. It's growing nicely. The lighting for my refugium right now is a MARINELAND single bright LED, doing a pretty good job. And coming along, flows over the next baffle and goes through some carbon, and goes then through some filter floss and through the bubble trap, and comes out here in the return section. In the return section I have a Hydor Coralia nano pump circulating the water. My return pump is the J-Bow DC 9000, and for the return lines here I have one running the frag tank off of this tee, and the other tee here on the right side is running my reactor, which is going to have some phosphate in the future, but since my nutrients are so low at this point, I'm just running carbon in there right now. My heater is currently a Finex heater. You can't really see the unit because I have it mounted on the back there behind my plumbing, but I may be changing to a different heater and getting a better controller, as I can't trust my system on a $30 heater anymore. Not with what I've got invested in here now. My skimmer is a Precision Marine Redline 100 skimmer. It is something I intend to upgrade in the future, as it's a bit undersized for the system, but for now it's actually doing a great job. That's about 2 days worth of skimmate there. Electrical, I have two separate power strips here. One has just got 6 outlets, and I got my lights and a few other things plugged into that. And the other one here, I have a DJ strip, and I have a switch for each individual outlet on here, which is very nice. When it comes time for maintenance, it's easy to shut things down and do the maintenance I need to do. And everything in here runs off of a GFCI outlet in case there's ever water gets into anything. Instead of a fire, it'll shut down the system. And I do have a battery backup right now running my RW8. I am going to be getting another battery backup that runs my return pump, and that way, in the event of a power outage, at least for as long as it's not one that lasts several days, I'll have no problem keeping my system alive. It is a bit messy in here. My wiring needs to be cleaned up a bit, but I have a Tunzi auto top off, and the reservoir for that is currently underneath my frag tank. I have 2 BRS peristaltic dosing pumps for calcium and alkalinity, and I am waiting on getting a timer to run those, so they're not hooked up yet, but I also need to establish my dosing regimen and figure out how much I need to dose daily before I can get those actually up and running anyway. Alright, so that's all the equipment in my sump, I believe. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. Upgrades for the system. I do plan on getting a Reef Keeper or Apex in the future as my budget allows, and I definitely will be upgrading the skimmer at some point in the future. I would like to upgrade to Radions. That's a long ways away though. I've got to just enjoy what I have for a while. So, you know, I have a lot of J-Bow Chinese equipment on here, but this equipment here has really changed the hobby and made it affordable for people like me. So I'm definitely not talking bad about it. For the frag tank, I have my old stand here from my old display. I have a 20-gallon frag tank, DIY racks. I put the overflow box in myself. So this of course drains into the shared sump, and then there's a DIY return line right there. I have 2 high-door Corellia 425s circulating water in this tank, and I do have a couple fish in here. And high-door Corellia pumps run off of the high-door Smart Wave, which is under there. There's also my auto top-off reservoir. And on the other side, I just have storage for my testing equipment, some dry foods and chemicals, etc. I do have a BRS RODI unit that I will be running into my reservoir with a float valve, so I won't have to top that off anymore myself. Oh yes, the lighting, of course, is my current USA Orbit Marine LED from my old setup. So I think that about covers all the equipment running my system. Before we end the video for the day, I'll go downstairs and show you my setup for water changes and my RODI unit and how I'm planning to run everything. Okay guys, so here we are in the basement, directly underneath where the new system is. And I have my support beam right there for the house, so it's placed right over top of that. So no worries about weight going through the floor or anything like that. Down here, this is going to be my quarantine setup. This is just a simple 10 gallon with a skimmer and a hang-on back filter and heater. And there is a canister filter, not sure if I'll be using that. Like I did before, I had some rubble in that, and that's how I ran my system, but when I had just a 10 gallon. But anyway, that's going to be my quarantine setup when I start adding fish to the system again. Here is my 20 gallon mixing station. That's just a spare tank that I had instead of going out and buying a brute container. Maybe I will at some point in the future, but for now this works just fine. I have a Seche 1.5 pump down here, and hopefully that's going to be enough to get the water upstairs. That thing's supposed to be able to handle 6 feet ahead, and at least get the water upstairs into another container if I have to, and then I could pump it from there into the display. But anyway, if not, maybe I'll upgrade the pump, and what I'll be doing is drilling a couple of holes here, and one will be for my water change line, which will have a Aqueon hose, an Aqueon siphon, and the siphon of course being upstairs in the tank, and that's how I'll drain my water. That'll come down the line and go right over here into our utility sink. And when it's time to refill the display, I will hook that same line up to my pump here and pump the water right back on up. My RODI unit is over here at the utility sink, and that is also going to be ran up along the ceiling, and then there will be a small hole going through, and that'll run into my top off reservoir into the float valve, so I will no longer have to top off my RODI system. So that's about it. That's my equipment overview for the system. There will be plenty of updates to come as time allows. I apologize, I haven't been putting out as many videos as I like to. You know, with my 6-month-old son now and just getting moved into our house, my fiance is starting a new job and she's going to school full-time, and I work full-time. So we're busy. I'm doing what I can. I miss watching the videos and you know, talking to a lot of you guys. I know it's been a long time, so thank you for taking the time to watch the video today. Hope you guys enjoy. Happy fish keeping.